Hello, my name is Ryan McLean, and this is our first concept video for SFL 290. Since this is likely one of the first times you are hearing my voice, I would just like to welcome you to SFL 290, and I regret that we are not able to meet in person, but I hope that you and your loved ones are happy and safe. In planning this course, Stephanie and I did a lot of research of our own through Facebook posts and personal conversations, and asked what professors had done to be effective at online teaching. One of the common suggestions was to pre-record the lecture material so that you as students could learn on your own time. I hope that this format is going to be especially helpful because 3 hours on a Zoom meeting sounds exhausting. And I apologize about my coughs. So this video will teach you an introductory principle of research methods while simultaneously giving you a taste of what the format will be. As we progress in the class, if you have suggestions for improvement of these videos, or if you would like us to change the format, just let us know. I hope they are not awkward, and here we go. Science is the process of asking questions and searching for answers in a systematic and reliable way. Let's emphasize some words. Science is a process of asking questions. At the beginning of a research methods class, it is important to emphasize both what science is and its limitations. Many people, including myself, say something like, "It's science," to indicate a statement they believe is true. This is incorrect. Science is not truth. It is the study of truth. Hopefully, by using the scientific method, we are getting close to capital T truth, but science only uncovers truth. The goal of this course is to teach you how to be an effective consumer and producer of research and a better critical thinker of anything claiming to be truth. Our modern scientific method was formulated by Greek philosophers based on intellectual reasoning of what they could see, which they called empirical evidence. There are two types of reasoning. The first is called inductive logic, which uses individual observations or cases to make generalizations or theories to draw up conclusions. It's often referred to as bottom-up reasoning. Note here that we are using individual observations to draw more generalized conclusions. The second is called deductive logic, using a theory or generalization or belief to make predictions about a future observation, referred to as top-down reasoning. Here we are using general principles called premises to make predictions. Let's talk about this in another way. These are textbook definitions that are kind of hard. Let's start with deductive, even though it's on the bottom. I have all the clues, and I have to figure out how the clues come together to produce a conclusion. Inductive is the opposite of that. I know the conclusion, and I have to figure out the clues that produce the outcome. Let's talk about this in one more way. So, is this an example of inductive or deductive reasoning? Let's skip forward a little bit.
Invented the job.
What does that mean?
It means when the police are out of their depth, which is always, they consult me.
The police don't consult amateurs.
When I met you for the first time yesterday, I said Afghanistan or Iraq. You looked surprised.
Yes, how did you know?
I didn't know, I saw. Your haircut, the way you hold yourself says military. But your conversation as you entered the room
A bit different from my day.
said trained at Bart, so army doctor, obvious. Your face is tanned, but no tan above the wrists. You've been abroad, but not sunbathing. Your lips really bad when you walk, but you don't ask for a chair when you stand like you've forgotten about it. So it's at least partly psychosomatic. That says the original circumstances of the injury were traumatic. Wounded in action then. Wounded in action, suntan, Afghanistan or Iraq.
You said I had a therapist.
Got a psychosomatic limp, of course you've got a therapist. Then there's your brother. Your phone, it's expensive, email-enabled MP3 player. Are you looking for a flat share? You wouldn't waste money on this. It's a gift then. Scratch is not one, many over time. It's been in the same pocket as keys and coins. Man sitting next to me wouldn't treat as one luxury item like this, so it's had a previous owner. Next bit's easy, you know it already.
The engraving.
Harry Watson, clearly a family member who's given you his old phone. Not your father, this is a young man's gadget. Could be a cousin, but you're a war hero who can't find a place to live. Unlikely you've got an extended family, certainly not one you're close to, so brother it is. Now Clara, who's Clara? 3 kisses says there's a romantic attachment. At Spencer, the phone says wife, not girlfriend.
She must have given it to him recently. This model's only 6 months old. Marriage in trouble then. 6 months on, he's just given it away. If she'd left him, he would have kept it. People do sentiment, but no, he wanted rid of it. He left her. He gave the phone to you. That says he wants you to stay in touch. You're looking for cheap accommodation, and you're not going to your brother for help. It says you've got problems with him. Maybe you liked his wife. Maybe you don't like his drinking.
How can you possibly know about the drinking?
Shot in the dark. Good one, though. Power connection, tiny little scuff marks around the edge of it. Every night he goes to plug it in to charge, but his hands are shaking.
We never see those marks on a sober man's phone, never see a drunk's without them. There you go, you see, you were right.
I was right. Right about what?
The police don't consult amateurs.
That was amazing.
Alright, is this inductive or deductive? Take a second. This is deductive reasoning. Sherlock has a whole bunch of clues that he sees through observation and uses those clues to make predictions or conclusions. He concludes that John was recently an army doctor and that he has a brother. The logic is not always correct because clues can be misleading, like how Harry is actually Harriet, a sister. But overall, I think Sherlock did pretty well. Alright, so inductive is the opposite. If we have the conclusion, we have to figure out the clues that make it happen. Here's an example from my own research. We see a high teenage pregnancy rate. What might be the cause? There could be a lot of different causes. I'm going to try and figure out some causes for it. I have the conclusion. I'm going to try and figure out the premises, the principles that make this happen. Here are a few that I think. Media portrayals of casual teenage sex, peer pressure, and lack of parental involvement or lack of parents talking about sex with their kids. So you see how it's backwards. We have the conclusion and we're trying to figure out why we are seeing that conclusion. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. It can be really challenging and abstract. So if you want more resources, here are 2 YouTube videos that describe the different reasoning styles in a different way. Obviously the second one is longer, it's more in depth, but both of them are really good. I would recommend watching at least one of them as part of your preparation. So by combining both types of logic, we have the scientific method. We use deductive reasoning to create an experiment or observation. That experiment may be formal, it may be informal. Sherlock said that he thought John's brother Harry was a drinker, and by saying that he created an experiment. He said it was a shot in the dark. I didn't know. It was a good one though, because he guessed, and that was his experiment. He put it out there, and then John confirmed, or actually in this case, yeah, he did confirm. He said, how can you possibly know about the drinking? Once we've done our experiment, we use inductive reasoning to take us back to the general case, which builds another theory, and so on. The goal of this process is to get closer and closer to truth while weeding out our mistakes and the mistakes of others. Hopefully, science is self-correcting over time. For those of us in the field of human development and family studies, our scientific method usually looks something like this. We have a question, so we go to the library to find out who has already tried to answer that question or similar questions. We create a research study to attempt to answer whatever is left. And this semester, you will have the opportunity to do this for yourselves. That sounds daunting, but it's actually the most fun part of this whole class. Once you've conducted your study, you move forward into the analysis phase. You corroborate and/or refute specific aspects of the theory you tested. You figure out, how does my research fit into everything else that we already know? So for example, with my teenage sexuality study, you have to look at, okay, so now I find that teenagers who watch a lot of sexual media do have higher pregnancy rates, or whatever it may be. So you look at that in combination with all the other literature that's been done on sexual media as well as pregnancy rates, and see, where does this puzzle piece that I just created fit in. As a broad overview, we start with the research question and go back and forth with the literature until we feel like we have the right question. Then we design a study and analyze the data to answer that question. We look at the data in context to draw conclusions and publish it, which adds to the body of research literature, and so we go. I hope this video has been helpful. If you're watching this before class, I look forward to meeting you. If you're watching this after class, then I am sure that it was a pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to our time together. If you have any suggestions about how I could improve this, then let us know. I apologize if it was a little awkward. I'm still getting used to the format as well as you are, I am sure. Ta-ta for now.